There, I just washed my hair, an absolute fucking mess. Okay. I was just talking to some people there the other night about sex magic, and when the manifestation of will amazingly would have begin around the ninth month, the ninth moon, and it makes perfect sense because when people do sex magic, and you should be very careful about that. There's lots of new age lunatics doing it right now, and horrible things happen to them because they don't understand what they're doing. It has to be two people agreeing on the same will, and the like a baby. It took 9 months. It took 9 months exactly. And then we started talking about other things, saying, did you ever put into an operation, or were you ever cursed and you sent it back, a rebound? And we all said it all seemed to take place between the ninth and the 11th moon. And it makes perfect sense when you're thinking about it, because when you create the object of your will, you're actually creating something new in the universe for the first time. You're actually creating a being, not an entity or being, but a new creative force that's manifested out of you, that's just like a child giving birth. And therefore, that makes perfect sense that it begins to happen during the ninth and the 11th month. And this also explains why the ones who say you perform an operation in January, well, and it's a powerful one, it will not come to fruition until September, October, November. In the meantime, there's no point in doing the same thing over and over again, because you can't get pregnant twice. See, so it's basically it's also a very good way to tell. It's like all the energy in your life. It's like a woman's eggs in her ovaries. She only has so many. Well, you've only got so many chances to manifest will. And these ones who are casting spells all the time, cursing also, this is why they go insane, because they're like decrepit prostitutes of sorcery. And they're the way an old whore ages really quickly. Well, that's what happens to them. That's why you have them looking. They look so bad. Their teeth are falling out. They're in horrible condition, and they look like old people when they're young, because they're constantly hexing, constantly cursing, constantly hexing, just like a prostitute, spewing all their energy out of their body, spewing all and bringing negative forces into themselves. So it's a very interesting thing that if you've really put something into a powerful operation, and you watch between 9 and 11 moons, that's when the manifestation will begin. Will have like you will. Now it does. See, it's like a seed growing. It can't happen like that, abracadabra, like that. It has to build up the energetic forces. And most people say, "Oh, I came up with this conjuration and it didn't happen." And they're saying that like a week or 2 weeks later. They have to wait between the 9 and the 11 moons for it to come to pass. And like a baby, in the womb, you have to protect it. You have to make sure that the baby is safe, that you're safe, that the magical spell is safe. It's the same thing. It's also interesting that how in this age of the end of the Kali Yuga and the early collapse of the Aeon of Horus, that we have men who think they can have babies and periods and stuff like that. This is part of the breakdown in nature, that the skin of nature is being torn off to allow something new to happen. It'd be just like the opening in the Call of Cthulhu. That way, eventually science will open up such appalling vistas that will go back into a new dark age. This also explains the growth of heathenism and the growth of pagan gods. We're looking at what science is producing is like men who can have periods, men who can have babies. This is what and we're seeing that science is anti-nature, and because it's Abrahamic ultimately, it comes to the same thing. It hates nature, and it has opened up the appalling vistas, and we're retreating into the new dark age. And remember, the dark ages was a good time. It was a terrible time for Christianity. 9 and 11 moons. Remember that.